All right, what's up, everybody? It's good to be back here with you on the afternoon show. Gonzo will be joining us here in a little bit. Always running late, but that's all right. He'll be back. Today we got Big Glenn out there doing his thing. Glenn, I think you're at the Field House, correct? Cambridge Field House?
No, I am currently at the convention center where the WWE Superstore and the photo
That's right.
opportunities are going on right now. I'm in the quad
That's
area
right.
right now.
Look at that. That's a nice looking fantasy football belt there, man. That's our champion right there.
You got that
Back to
right.
back. All right, Glenn. Look, man, who you getting autographs out or getting pictures taken with? I know you're getting some celebrities.
So I've already had Chelsea Green. I got that picture taken at about 12:30. LA Knight is coming up in about 40 so minutes. My group goes up at 12 or 2:50, which would be 150 your time and
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
So I'll be up on here with you for a little bit. Then tomorrow I got Rhea and Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's actually across the street here. There's actually a hotel across the street. That's where Russ Klein's at, and that's where I get my Joe Hendry photo taken. Then Saturday, I got to be here at 9:30 in the morning because I got a whole union full up at 9:30. Then to cap it all off, go back across the street, see Ric Flair before I go to the Rumble.
Nice. Now that sounds like a hell of a lot of good stuff right there, my brother. Uh
Most
no, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say most definitely, man. I figured to wear my favorite stuff and my NWO jacket and my shades.
Hell yeah, man. Look, let's get a little bit of sports, man. Darren Fox. Darren Fox has listed a couple of teams he's willing to be traded to. Looks like San Antonio is his primary spot. Looks like Miami is his next, and then they're going to wrap it out with Houston as the long shots. And I don't know if Houston's going to pull that plug because I think they're wanting to see what they have with this core group of guys that right now they're second in the West. I think they're 32 and 14 or something like that. I mean, I don't know that they really need to bring on a Darren Fox. I think they're doing good with what they have. So I'm really primarily seeing more either a Miami situation where then you have Jimmy Butler possibly going to the Sacramento Kings. And then you also have San Antonio. Where do you think would be the best spot for him?
Best spot for who again? I missed the name at the start.
Oh, De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, ooh. What was the other team besides San Antonio?
Yeah, San Antonio, Miami, and Houston. But Houston's considered to be the long shot.
I think he could end up in Miami, but is Sacramento going to want to get Jimmy Butler? Because I would think that he would probably come in that deal.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a Butler for Fox. I mean, that's the only way that trade would actually work.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things. I don't think that Jimmy would want to go to Sacramento though. So, but I can see that being one of the more likely spots that De'Aaron Fox could end up. Also, I could see, obviously San Antonio because San Antonio is up and coming. Obviously, the Pacers played them in Paris over last weekend. They look all right, but they only got Wimby and one other good player, and the rest are guys I've never heard of before. So.
yeah, absolutely. And the guy's looking to command about 229 million on this next contract of his. So, and I believe he's up. It looks like he's eligible to sign a 4-year, 229 extension this summer. That's a lot of cabbage. I don't think the Rockets would be able to afford. I think they can afford it, but I don't think they're going to shell out that kind of money. I think San Antonio probably might take on that type of contract. Miami certainly could probably take on that type of contract. You look at him out there with San Antonio and Wembanyama. I kind of like that. I think that's a hell of a 1-2 punch from the guard to the center position in terms of everything else that they have. You put them over there in Miami. I mean, they have a winning coach. You got Hero. You still got Bam Adebayo. So what would they be trading? Jimmy Butler. I think that might be a straight up trade. I don't know if it'd be a 3-team trade. I think it'd probably be a straight up 2-team trade. And it's just really, does Miami, or it's not Miami, like you said, I think does Sacramento want to take on the headache or cancer known as Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't think Jimmy would be too happy about going to Sacramento unless like you had just mentioned, a third team trade with where Jimmy would go over to that third team, but that third team probably would want to, in Jimmy's case, want to be a playoff team where he can compete for a championship.
Yeah, and that's and so that's the thing too. So you look at him, you look at another potential up for trade, which would be Zion Williamson. Would New Orleans be a bad spot for Jimmy Butler to go to? Or even Darren Fox. They're always looking to get rid of that. And either one of those teams could use a Zion. The only problem with Zion, obviously, is the injuries. Would you want to take on a guy that only plays, part of the season or half of this season? And that kind of makes it harder for them to move on from Williamson, I think,
Yeah, I think Zion is probably going to be out of the league, unfortunately, in the next 2 years. Just simple fact of his injuries and not be able to keep in body shape. But see, the way his body is currently and the way it's been since it came into the NBA, his body and his weight, it doesn't agree with each other. So, you know,
Right. You look at Fox. He's having a really good time right now. He's averaging 26.6 points in the 23-24 season. And he could even get a 5-year deal that could swell up to $345 million. I don't know necessarily that a lot of teams want to. You're talking about that's some serious cabbage, and some teams can afford that kind of cabbage. Some teams can't. I really think that's part of what's killing the Sacramento Kings right now. I don't know if they can afford to bring on or pay that type of salary. But then again, if he leaves, what does that do to Sacramento? Sacramento with the Maloof people hasn't really done a whole lot, in the past seasons, and they're actually trying to build something out there in Sacramento. And what does that do to Sacramento? You bring on a Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy is like in his mid-30s. What does that really do for them? I don't know. I just don't know how competitive that team would be, even with a Jimmy Butler.
yeah, it's one of those things. If Jimmy wanted to move to another team, he would be more wise to go to like the Knicks or Denver Nuggets, a team that's actually going to have at least a deep playoff run. Sacramento is like pretty much going to be a one and done team, even because the West is so stacked every single season. So and Sacramento is paying out a lot of money to obviously to the air and then for Pacer Demonis Sabonis, so they're a small market team, out there in the West, so it's going to be hard to pay a lot of guys.
Yeah, and I forgot they brought in DeMar DeRozan not too long ago. So now you got a deal. He's put up a lot of numbers, but those numbers haven't translated into wins, and that's the problem with the Kings. You got a guy like Sabonis, you got a guy like DeMar DeRozan, you got a guy like De'Aaron Fox, but it really just isn't panning out towards the wins.
Yeah. It's partially because they're out in the West. If they was in the Eastern Conference, they could probably be able to, potentially get past the first round. But the way that the team is set up, they're like seeds 5 through 8. Now granted they was higher than fifth. I think it was like the third seed or fourth seed a couple years ago after we had traded Sabonis to them, but they haven't done anything since then though.
So, Gonzo, we were talking about De'Aaron Fox possibility being traded out of Sacramento, and the destinations that he said that he would be willing to possibly accept or go to. One of them being obviously the Miami Heat. I think that's like the preferred. No, excuse me. One of them being San Antonio, which is his preferred destination to go to. The second one being Miami. Second likeliest being Miami for probably a Jimmy Butler type of thing. And then the third one, which is a long shot, is the Houston Rockets, which I don't know. I think Rockets management has kind of come out and already kind of said they want to see what they got after the All-Star break or what they can do in the playoffs with the core that they currently have. They're sitting second in the West. So I don't know if they really want to mess up the chemistry that they currently have, but I don't know necessarily they're going to turn a blind eye to a De'Aaron Fox if there's a possibility. What do you guys think about the whole De'Aaron Fox thing, and where do you think he winds up?
I think San Antonio would be a perfect spot.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's where he's probably going to end up in San Antonio. But I think Sacramento is doing the right thing. If if you don't think he's going to re-sign with you, why not try to get what you can for him now and not lose him for nothing? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think, and he'll be a pretty high value. I know I've heard a lot of people say the Lakers. I don't think he's a great fit with the Lakers, just because he plays with the ball in his hand. Most players that play with the ball in their hand haven't had a lot of success playing with LeBron James. Guys that need to have the ball, guys that can play off the ball seem to have more success with LeBron. So that's why I don't think the Lakers would be a great fit, but I think San Antonio would be a real good fit because if you can get a true point guard in there with Wembanyama, San Antonio could be scary.
And I think the San Antonio's probably got a lot better draft picks and stuff. That's something that the Lakers don't have. And if I'm San Antonio, I mean, who on the Lakers?
Yeah, you know
roster?
the Lakers, man. They pretty much mortgaged their future with that LeBron trade to get them that title a couple years ago. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't think there's anything on the Lakers roster that San Antonio really going to want. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that 1-2 punch that Darren Fox could bring to the Spurs alongside of Wembanyama. I mean, that's a really almost. I'm not saying they're Kobe and Shaq, but I could see something like that type of tandem, right? Where you got a really young, talented guard, you got a really young, talented center, and these guys could grow together, they could mold together, and really develop something special out there in San Antonio. Especially when hopefully Pop will be back at some point. If not this year, next year. I think Pop's going to give at least one more year before he hangs it up. And that's some good tutelage and good leadership right there. I mean, I think it's a perfect fit. Or you can look at him going to Miami, teaming up with ex-college teammate Bam Adebayo. That could be a really nice marriage. Those guys obviously know each other. I think they play well with each other. They've done it before in the past. I think those are probably the two best destinations would be that. I don't think the Rockets would be a great destination because they're just a young team right now, and I think they got enough where they don't necessarily need to bring in a Darren Fox, right? I mean, he's going to command, like I said, well over $229 million on a 4-year extension. It's looking like $345 million on a 5-year extension. So they're going to be putting up a lot of cabbage to keep this guy.
Are they saying they're trying to make a trade for Butler?
That's about the only way Miami would work is if they did make the trade for Butler.
Well, yeah, but does Sacramento want Butler?
I think Sacramento would take him. To be honest with you, I
Would it have to
be? I haven't heard anything where they wouldn't take him.
Would it be a deal that they would take him if he signed? Because I mean, you could get him and he could be gone the next year.
And that's a good possibility. That's a real good possibility. And we've seen that happen before. I mean, I've seen a lot of times where they come in for 1 year and then they're gone the next. Scottie Pippen to the Rockets was here 1 year, and then after that,
I don't think you give up De'Aaron Fox for a rental, unless you get a lot of draft picks.
I don't think Darren Fox wants to stay in Sacramento. I think that's kind of coming down to where it's at. So if you got a disgruntled star that doesn't really necessarily want to be there.
No, I understand that, but I mean, you want to get the most that you can. I think
for sure you do.
You're going to want to get draft picks, not just a rental.
Oh, for sure. Draft picks are that would be paramount. I mean, unless you can get a young star, like a really good young star, because the only with draft picks is there are possibilities. That doesn't mean they're going to pan out. Sometimes it could be a bust. But if you can get a proven young star, that would be, to me, that's where I would look first. But if I knew I couldn't get a good young star at a good price, then I probably would look at the draft picks. It better be a good high first rounder, because that's unfortunately the NBA. I don't think once you get past like the lottery system, now you're kind of looking more at like role players and not necessarily game changers. That's one thing for me. But
yeah. NBA draft, I mean, really after the top 4 or 5 picks, you don't see a whole lot out of very, very many of the other players too often.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of curious to see what happens with the Rockets when they get Jabari Smith back. He's still coming off that fractured hand, but they're playing so well right now. I'm kind of wondering who they're going to put on the bench to bring back Jabari Smith, because he's been out for a hot minute. So I think Houston has some things they want to continue to work on and solidify in their rotation. I think that's why they're the long shot if they were to bring in a Darren Fox, because I think they have a lot of talent right there on the team that they don't necessarily have to go out and spend, $300 or $400 million on a guy when you already have it in house. I think he's got to continue through Udoka, who I think is probably one of the best coaches in the league. Honestly, I think he's an elite coach for what he's done with this young Rockets team. from last year to this year. I mean, it's incredible. And so I don't think there's necessarily room for a Darren Fox in our team just because of the talent that we currently have. So I think you really are kind of limited to that Miami and or San Antonio. And I think San Antonio probably is the best spot for him. Now, whether they got the capital or draft picks or whatever to make that work, I think that's the hard part, right?
I think they do. Now, whether they want to part with it, that's a different story.
And that's the crazy thing about the lottery system in the NBA versus like the NFL or wherever, where okay, this guy's got the worst record in the league. He's going to have, number one spot. The guy's number two. So you can kind of already pick out where they're going to be drafted. That lottery system, you could be the worst damn team in the league and still be drafted like 14 or 13 or just depending on where the balls fall. You know what I'm saying? It's not a guarantee that you're going to get, and that even that top 5 spot.
Yeah. Some people think the NFL should go to that lottery system. What do you guys think?
I think I would be okay with that because I think it makes it more competitive, and it would discourage tanking or anything of that nature. Or not playing all your games.
I don't think NFL has a tanking problem.
No, I'm just saying I think it would discourage it, and you're right. They probably don't. I mean, well,
that one team was it the Raiders that won that game, and then people were mad.
Well, fans get mad
because they won the game.
But I don't think you see very many teams try to lose games on purpose in the NFL. I mean, look how many teams this year cost herself the first round draft pick by winning games late in the year.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's more of a fan narrative. When a team ain't no good, that's an easy thing for a fan to say, "Hey, we're tanking."
But the funny thing about that was they were pissed off in New England that he won that last game, and they wound up firing Gerard Mayo.
I don't think that's why I don't think them winning that game had anything to do with Gerard Mayo getting fired. I think he was getting fired no matter what.
Yeah, ask Frankie if he's not pissed off he didn't get that first pick.
Yeah, fans were, but that's not why Kraft fired him.
Hey, it may not be management or people that own the players, but it's definitely the fans. Some fans are pissed off about that.
The only thing I would have against the NFL going to a lottery is the way they do it now. Yeah. I think it helps breed parity in the league.
Yeah,
because whatever team is the worst, they get the first pick, and then it goes by the records, and that gives them the teams that wasn't good a chance to get one of them top players. So I do like that because I think it does help with the parity part. Where on a lottery, there's a group of teams, but still, you just never know. It could fall in the same team, could get it 2 or 3 years, and boom, and then I don't know. It just seems like the talent gets dispersed a little more evenly in the NFL than it does in the NBA.
Well, also, with a lottery, you could have an envelope in there that's got a corner that's folded over to make sure that team. Gets Patrick Ewing on it. I think that was Patrick Ewing and the Knicks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Now, I'm not a fan of tanking. I'm not. And if I was a fan, I wouldn't want to see my team tank either. But I am asking if you put our business hats on, right? And if we put our competitive hats on, if for a fact, let's take the New York Giants. Let's just take them for example. If you want to have a shot in hell for the champions, or even the Patriots when they won that game that knocked them out. Matter of fact, the Patriots are probably the best ones to use. If you don't have a shot in hell at a championship or even the playoffs or any of that, is it almost hurting yourself to win those games and not try to get the better draft picks so you can become competitive again? I mean, it's almost like a strategy. Would it be like a good strategy move to become competitive again, to take a step back?
I understand what you're saying. Like when you look at it, like the business like that, but as a competitor, you're not going to be able to go in there and tell 63 guys on a team to go out there and not try to win.
Oh, for sure. I know what you're saying. And again, I'm not saying that that's the right way to go. It just seems to me sometimes like if I look at if I'm an owner in a team and I know, okay, if I get some draft picks, that gives me something to build off of. But if I
I get what you're saying. I mean, it makes sense that way. It's just to me, if you don't try, if you're not out there trying, giving 100% to win, you're not a competitor. And all these guys that are at this professional level, that's why they're at the professional level, because they're some of the most competitive people on this planet. So,
right.
That's why like in the NFL, I really can't think of a team off the top of my head that tanked. I mean, like,
But let me ask you
like
this.
here, even in Indianapolis, that year that we were terrible and we ended up
Right.
getting Andrew Luck. We wasn't tanking for Luck. Now the fans went on a big campaign, suck for Luck, but I mean, it wasn't like, but it wasn't like the Colts were trying to lose. Our Hall of Fame quarterback announced that he was out for the season, and then we got rid of him. It would, I mean, you know what I mean? It wasn't like we were trying to lose. The same thing when Luck retired 2 weeks before the season, and then they decided to fire Pagano and all them. It was like, what'd you expect when your quarterback, that's your franchise guy, retires 2 weeks before the season starts? I mean,
let me ask you this. Now, this may be kind of a weird thing to look at, but take teams like Kansas City, right? Let's take that Kansas City Buffalo game that ended the season, right? Wouldn't you kind of consider that to be tanking? Technically, it is kind of tanking because you're not putting all your starters out there. You're basically putting your scrubs out there, knowing damn good and well you're not going to win that game, and you're going to give that game to somebody else. I mean, maybe that didn't have impact on the Kansas City Chiefs making the playoffs, but it could be putting other people in the playoffs that maybe wouldn't have got there had you had your starters in. Do you think that is a form of tanking, even though it's, I mean, at the competitive level that you're talking about?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
I mean, it's a strategy, right? I mean, it's a strategy way to do it.
I wouldn't call it tanking, but I get what you're saying.
You're resting your players because, and plus you don't want them to get hurt. I mean,
right.
You got bigger fish to fry. You don't. I mean, that game didn't mean anything.
Right. I mean, that game. Let's put it this way: that game means. I mean, it may not mean something to Kansas City, but if you got a team, let's say that's on the cusp, and they need the Chiefs to get the win for them to get in, then it could mean something. Well, it may not mean something for the Kansas City Chiefs, but in the league itself, it kind of does.
Well, like the NBA, these guys set out. This load management bullshit. There's times that they lose games because guys ain't on the floor,
right?
But they don't care as long as they make the playoffs,
right?
I mean, that's hurt the NBA because I mean it makes the season not mean as much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I agree with that.
We went, and it's not as bad in baseball, but we went to a game a couple of years ago to see the Reds and the Yankees, and especially with a friend of mine, and he's a big baseball fan, and he was there to see Judge. He wasn't a Reds fan. He was not a Yankee fan, but he was there to see Judge. Guess who set out that game? That Sunday. Judge set out. He didn't play that Sunday.
And from a fan's perspective, that's what you're paying to see.
Oh, and he was upset, And we would have liked to see him too. But I mean, it wasn't, we're Reds fans, so it wasn't devastating to us. But my friend was pretty upset because I mean, he wasn't a Reds fan. He's just a huge baseball fan, and he wanted to see Judge.
He played every game that series, but that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then you look at a guy like
and what even made that worse was well, I guess not nationally televised, but it was a game that was on Peacock, so it wasn't like it was a Sunday, early Sunday
morning games, 11:30.
That was on Peacock, so it wasn't like it was just like a regional game. Like it was, it was one of their games they were putting on Peacock, to try to promote it, and then Judge don't play.
Right. Absolutely. And that's another thing. You look at a guy. Switching gears a little bit. Look at Anthony Davis. I mean, he's got that team on the roll. He's playing well. He just had a really monster night not too long ago. Now he's got an ab strain. They're saying it's not going to keep him out too many games, but he's going to have to miss at least a couple. The Lakers are right there in the middle of the pack. I think they're around 6 or 7, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a little bit lower, but they're right there in the middle. Not really elite, not really trash, but what do you think about this Lakers squad? What do you think about Anthony Davis as a whole?
He's a great player when he's healthy.
Yep.
And you saw the impact. They were in that game, and as soon as he went out of that game, they ended up getting beat by like 30-something points by the 76ers without Embiid and Paul George.
How tall is Davis?
So they basically got beat by 30-something points by Tyrese Maxey.
How tall is Davis? 7 foot?
I'm not 100% sure. He's around 7 foot.
Doesn't that, I mean, with big guys like that, being 6'11", 7 foot, and playing that amount of games, and especially the way Davis plays, but you talked about the guy from the 76ers who once missed almost the whole season. I would think as you get older, your body's just going to tend to break down. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it.
I get what you're saying, but we've seen guys like Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean,
Jabbar.
you've seen other. I
Kareem.
think it's just everybody's body's built different. And some bodies can hold up more than others. I mean, because I mean,
and let's be
we've
honest,
seen it
though,
both ways.
Davis is a lot bigger guy than Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was a small, slender kind of guy. You know, obviously he wasn't carrying a lot of weight on his knees and on his back and things of that nature, right? And Tim Duncan wasn't as physical down low as probably what some of the other guys are that are getting hurt a lot. Shaq was a big one that always.
Yeah, but Tim Duncan also played in the league when it was more physical than
no, he
the
did.
league is now.
You're right.
Yeah, he did.
Right. You're right.
A lot more physical.
I just wonder what the conditioning level of Anthony Davis. Now I don't monitor his conditioning level. I'm wondering where his conditioning level is at. I know sometimes that can affect you.
Well, I mean, you see it a lot with big guys, though, like you said, because like even like with the Pacers, we had Rick Smits, who was great and then he started having feet issues.
Well, Turner misses a few games every year, not a ton, but he misses a few.
But then like Shaq,
real physical.
Shaq was pretty healthy for years and years, but then look toward the end of his career, he started breaking his body started breaking down.
You're going to hit a wall, and that's the problem with the guy from the 76ers. I don't know. I'd say maybe his best years are behind him. What do you think?
I don't know what to think about that dude.
So let me ask you guys this. Right now, the Lakers are currently sitting at 28-19. They're basically at the 5th spot, right after Denver's at the 4th spot. And there's really not much difference between the two in terms of their positioning. You know, how you talk about the last game last night where Tyrese Maxey kind of took over that game. And, you know, obviously it was Bronny that initially they had put on him, and Bronny didn't do too well. I think it was 0 for 5. Shooting. He said he had a hard time guarding Maxey because he felt Maxey was pretty fast. You know, at some point, you know, do you think that the Lakers are just giving too much leeway to Bron and the things that's kind of coming in?
My opinion, Bronny shouldn't even be on the floor. He's not ready.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. And, you know, I don't watch a lot of NBA basketball, so I probably don't have a right to have that opinion. That's just for me watching a little bit of college basketball and the level he is, I don't think he's that level yet. None against the kid. Not saying he won't be at that level. I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying I just don't think he's ready yet.
I wasn't about putting anybody down. I mean, look, the guy was getting 31 points in the G League the last game, but then he goes out on the NBA court and he's 0 for 5 and can't guard Maxey worth a damn. I think you're absolutely right. You don't have to know a lot about basketball. I mean, the evidence is right there in the stat sheet. You know, you can tell that Bronny's not ready for this game yet.
I keep hearing everybody say he had 31 points in the G League game. What did he do in the other G League games he played in?
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He was.
You know, what I mean, what's he averaging in the G League?
Not nowhere near that.
He's right now. He's a G League player. Yeah, and they're trying to play him up there when he's not ready. And
it's really not fair to him.
No, that's what I was gonna say. It's not fair to him, and it's also it can hurt. To me, it can actually hurt his progression because it can get in his head and hurt his confidence. So, I think, in my opinion, I think it's a mistake. Let the guy play G League and learn and get and try to improve to get to that level. But he's not at that level yet.
When did he play in the game? It was when they were blown out, or
no? They put him in after Davis got hurt and he got. They played him quite a bit of minutes.
I could see having him up here if you got games where you're up 30 points in the 4th quarter or you're down 30 points in the 4th quarter. I could see getting him minutes that way. If it's any meaningful part of the game, he has no business being on the floor.
They played him, I think, 10, 15 minutes in a game that he wasn't even planning on playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you just got thrown in. I think they're putting him in a tough situation. I don't think I actually think the Lakers are going right. I think they're going to fall in the standings.
Yeah, he played 15 minutes. He was 0 for 5 from the field, 0 from 3 from the 3-point line. He had 3 rebounds, an assist, and 1 foul.
I think the Lakers are going to fall because I think the Timberwolves are in 7th right now. I think they're going to keep moving up. They're starting to find their rhythm a little bit with the changes that they made. They're starting to play better. So I think the Timberwolves are going to move ahead of the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't think, let's be honest, I don't think the Lakers, I don't think they win a playoff series.
It's going to be difficult for them, for sure.
Even if they stayed in the 5th position, right now they would play, if Denver was they would have to play Denver. They're not going to beat Denver.
Right.
I mean,
no, Denver is going to crush them.
So
They're
I
going
mean,
to
I just don't think, and that's barring a trade being made and them getting somebody. Of course, things can change. But
I mean, it just seems like that team is so hurt all the time. You got Davis out, you got Braun always day to day, you got Hachimura day to day. Then you got Christian Reeves, which actually are healthy, but and then you got Babe Vincent that's day to day. I mean, that team has they deal with a lot of injuries over there, but they don't really. I just don't think that team is built for a championship. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think not Bronny, but LeBron himself is hurting the Lakers more so than he is helping them. I just think that was the worst. And I understand they want to bring Bron in because he probably puts butts in the seats and things like that. But as a long term, I think he's really retarding their growth more than he is helping them grow.
yeah, I don't think they're going to win another championship with LeBron there. Do you?
I would be very surprised. I would be very surprised if they did. I think if the Lakers want to have a serious shot, they've got to bring in a legit center because Davis is not a center. He doesn't like it. He hates that position. He'd rather be right there at the power forward spot, which I think is where he plays better at. And I just think that as long as they don't have a legit center there, I think that's what's really hurting that team.
I think they need a legit point guard myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think that team it's got some areas they need to address, and I don't think you can address it with the payroll and the roster that they currently have constructed. I mean, I hate to tell Lakers fans this, but it may be time for a good rebuild, get up some draft capital, and try to start over. I don't think the way this roster is constructed, they can be at that level.
Did you know that? I didn't realize it until just now. The Pacers have a game that starts an hour before the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis tomorrow.
Really?
Or Saturday, I mean.
Why would they have a game on Saturday? That's crazy.
They play Saturday at 5 o'clock. Royal Rumble starts at 6 o'clock.
That's nuts.
Yeah, Indianapolis is going to be freaking crazy.
Crazy.
I just want to know how do they actually? Well, yeah. Well, okay. So the game. Yeah, I got you. So in the field house, they'll have the game, and then across the. Is it across the? Are they that close to each other? How far are they from each other?
Maybe what? 3-4 blocks. Something like.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
They're both downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah, you better get some Ubers like a champ.
Well, we got a
There's
good
no way I would drive down there.
But they at the basketball Gainbridge where they play basketball, they'll have the Pacers and I think it's the Hawks, and then at Lucas Oil will be Royal Rumble. They're saying this is going to be the biggest Royal Rumble ever.
Right now, it's tracking for at least 67,000 for the Rumble, at least, and it could be more. It could go up to 70.
Now, Friday, you guys are leaving to go to the Royal Rumble, correct?
Yeah, we're leaving in the morning.
And the Royal Rumble is it Friday or Saturday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
So you get down there, kind of get your spot all set up, and then get ready for Saturday. That makes sense.
that and there's WCWO that we do a lot of work with. They have a wrestling show at 7:30 tomorrow night with anybody listening. If you're in the Indianapolis area, go check it out. But features Chavo Guerrero Jr. and he will be wrestling. Mr. Anderson, formerly known as Mr. Kennedy in the WWE,
he'll be wrestling
also will be in action. And then it just got announced that Mark Henry, WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry, will be there doing autographs and photos and stuff. Now he won't be wrestling, but he will be at the show. But it's at the Edison School of Arts, right downtown Indianapolis, just a maybe a half mile, if that far, away from Gainbridge, where SmackDown is going to be at. Come down there, $12 get you in the door.
Get your seat, good seat.
6:30 doors open, 7:30 bell time. Yep. So got that, and then at midnight they have their a show called WCW Unrated, where they're going to have a bunch of like hardcore and like death match style matches.
Is that the one where they put the spikes in glass and all that craziness on their hands and go in there?
Oh yeah, that'll be at midnight on Friday night at the Dub at 1151 West Kentucky Avenue. And I believe it's $12 to get in the door for that as well.
Yes.
If you want to go there, I would say get there. I'm not even sure what time the door open. I don't know if it said, but you want to get there early because the Dub's only so big, and once it fills up, they can't. I mean, they can't let nobody else in. So they probably can get a couple hundred people in there. Some
Yeah, probably something like that. And there is somebody at the Dub right now. I do know for a fact with tickets, so you could go to the to that co- to their building.
And real quick, while we're talking about it, they've been on Fox 59 news all day today here in Indianapolis. Dex Royal was on there. I saw Maliko, and from the way it sounded, there are going to be some more this evening.
Wow, that's going to be interesting. I would love to. I think I'd be really fascinated to go see that one after midnight. I bet that's just going to be off the chain.
Yeah, you have to wear goggles.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so.
The glass and
I just wonder how bad that's going to hurt them when they're hitting each other with that glass. I mean, good Lord.
Well, me and Chris watched a match between two guys, and they got those tubes, and they broke those tubes, and they started to stab each other with the tubes. And that dude caught that guy in his arm, and he just pretty much filleted him, Jay. I mean, the guy ended up taking they had to stop the match because he was going to bleed to death. And he didn't want to stop the match. They had to basically force him out of the ring because, I mean, he ended up, how many was it, like 35 staples?
Yeah, something like that.
To fix his arm.
Dang.
I
guess that's
I would let him hit me with the light tube, but I ain't letting them motherfuckers stab me with the light tube. I let him hit me and explode. I don't think that would hurt too bad.
Yeah, that's like death. That's like death.
Well, I'm not letting you break it and fucking start stabbing me with it. No,
yeah, I'm good. You're not stabbing me. I'm so good. Listen, we can look. There's a limit. Okay, that little $12 entry fee ain't paying for you to get stabbed. We're good. We're good.
Well, you paid the $12. As long as you don't get up in the ring, ain't nobody going to touch you.
No. Now, if you try to get
these staples, look, are the wrestlers themselves coming out of pocket? I mean, do you go to your insurance company and say, so I need to file this in my insurance? See, what had happened was I got stabbed with a light ball tube in the ring, and I said, "I'll help with that. I want some more." And they stabbed me a couple more times.
Them dudes don't. Them companies don't have medical insurance.
Hey,
you're on your own.
One match on Friday night, the first to staple $7 to the other guy's body wins.
I think to the head. I think.
Yeah,
to the head.
Oh hell no, Gina. No, I'm good. I'm so good.
And there's another match. It's Mousetraps and Tax will be all over the ring, and they'll be throwing each other down on the Mousetraps and the Tax.
Man, what if we got hit in the private area with some tax? I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
And then he had this big ass taser that he pulled out in the show the other night and was showing us that's going to be used.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, dude, it's going to be crazy on Friday night.
I mean, there's got to be a limit, right? Isn't there a limit that you just say, you know what, man, just a little bit more than I wanted to bargain for tonight? I mean, what if you take your girl with you? I'm sorry, babe, I can't talk to you right now. I'm getting my spleen re-sewn back together. No bad. We'll be all right. Get an Uber. You'll be okay.
Hey, some of the women like that style will go watch that, but won't like go watch a regular wrestling show.
We got a friend. Wife was excited to go to this show. She don't like regular wrestling, but she's excited to go to this.
She's
is it called wrestling, or is that just called Faces of Death?
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Like, has anybody ever died from this? That just sounds crazy to me.
Well, probably pretty close.
I would say I would say somebody. I don't know for sure, but I would think there's a decent chance.
There was a wrestler for
Sheamus up there golfing.
there was a wrestler named New Jack who wrestled in ECW, and he wrestled a match, and somebody canceled. So this guy said, I'm a wrestler. I want to wrestle. Use me. So they used him, and it pissed off New Jack. He knew the kid didn't belong there. They didn't realize the kid was only like 17 years old at the time. He gets him in the ring, and he takes a scalpel, surgical, and he just pretty much filleted this dude, about killed him. And this was a live show.
Oh man,
New Jack was crazy. I think he was high on cocaine and shit during the match. He was crazy.
I mean, like this dude starts filleting somebody. We don't think like, okay, maybe this is a little too far. Maybe this isn't even wrestling anymore. This is just straight.
They're saying they've been saying this is going to be the biggest WWE Royal Rumble ever.
Yep.
And I know, like I haven't got to listen to it yet, but I know McAfee, Stephanie McMahon was on McAfee's show today.
I watched.
She was live there at his Thunderdome, and Sheamus has been on there, which I have it on, but I have the sound down, so I ain't been able to really hear. But Sheamus is always great when he's there, especially when they went to Ireland together. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited for the Rumble. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on around it as well. But then just to go to it that night, because you know there's going to be surprises.
Yep.
I think McAfee's going to be in the Rumble. I know I think he'll be there commentating, but I think he's going to be part of the Rumble match. And I think McAfee's going to be part of the Royal Rumble match, and Corey Graves is going to come out and eliminate McAfee or cause McAfee to get eliminated, because I think they're getting ready to start a feud between them two.
Or he could come and stop him from getting it. He's supposed to be in it, and he can come. They can get into it and prevent him from getting it.
And Graves jump in and take his spot, and then or something. Yeah, well, I think they're going to start that storyline this weekend.
Speaking of the Rumble, who you picking the winner? Who do you think will win the men's Rumble? Who wins the one?
I really haven't even thought about that.
I'm having a hard time with the men's Rumble. My pick for the women's Rumble was Charlotte Flair.
I haven't really even thought about that.
But the men's Rumble, I'm going to go with CM Punk. I just got a feeling. But there's like 10 or 12 guys I think that could win the men's Rumble. The way the storylines are, they've got a lot of the storylines.
I saw somebody, who was it? Was it Glenn that said Logan Paul was going to win the Rumble?
I don't think that's the right pick, but it could be because they've been hinting a feud with Gunther. So that would make sense in the storylines.
I think it was Glenn I saw yesterday or something that might have posted that it was going that he ain't on here no more, so I can't ask him. He jumped off.
He's at the.
Yeah, he said he was having connection issues.
He's the signings too. He's getting stuff signed and pictures and all.
Yeah,
that
he's got a couple of pictures today. He's get a picture with Ric Flair today. I said, "Woo!"
He's over at the convention center, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
The WWE store.
He's at the WWE store. I think Ric Flair's tomorrow. I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to go there tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to go over there tomorrow.
So Saturday is Wrestle. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. The Royal Rumble. I haven't seen it in a while. I know we did last time. We did a watch along for it. I'm looking forward to this time. I'm gonna watch that one. I told the wife.
You think there's gonna be any big surprises? Who do you think like some of the surprise entrants could be?
I think Joe Henry from TNA will be there because I do know he just got signed for WrestleCon, so he's in town. I think him. One that I hope to see. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think it'd be perfect for the New Day to be in there and Big E coming to the Rumble. I'm hoping he's cleared and then attack both of them. I think that would be big for the storyline and big. He'd get a huge. Could you imagine the pop that Big E would get after being out 4 or 5 years?
What about Hulk Hogan?
Hogan might be there, but he ain't gonna be in the match.
They could have Hogan come in at 30 and win the Rumble. Everybody would love that.
Could you imagine that? That would be.
Oh, dude, WWE would get buried if they done something like that.
I think Matt could
do it. Hogan's what, in his 70s now, ain't he?
He's got to be about 70 something. Yeah,
they would bury him.
What about a Ric Flair versus Hogan match?
We'll see that.
I don't even know. I mean, would that even be fun to watch? Watch the two old.
You think there'll be any maybe like legends they'll be back
in the match?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of somebody's really in good enough shape. Well, Bully Ray said he's got something going on Saturday. You could see him and you could see Bully Ray, and he still can compete.
Yeah,
so you could see Bully Ray in there. I think that's
Cold. They wouldn't bring him back and let him go.
He had knee surgery, and so I think that was one of his issues. I think that's a possibility. But I know,
dude, if we're at the Royal Rumble Saturday night and Stone Cold's music hits, I'm gonna go crazy.
Here's the way it is with Stone Cold.
I'm gonna go. I mean, yeah, he's one of my favorites of all time. I'll go crazy. I got to see him live back in the day, but I mean, yeah, it'd be great. It'd be cool to see him. I'm already excited that McAfee's going to be there because I'm a big McAfee fan.
Well, this Rumble's loaded, man. It really is. It compares to how, if you go back and look at 1992 when Flair won it, how star-studded that one was. This one is that star-studded.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed though. I'm a little disappointed McAfee isn't doing his show live from the WWE Superstore thing, like he does for some of the other pay-per-views. Because I was wanting to go watch I was gonna go down there and watch the show live, try to be part of the crowd. But he's gonna have some more WWE people on tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
and then they're doing that press conference thing. But of course, we're going to be over there at the. By that time, we'll be over at the school.
Yeah, they got a big opening thing, 5 o'clock on probably on Peacock. Big opening, bunch of stars there, promos and all that kind of stuff. Wonder if Austin's gonna go over there.
I don't know. Who knows with that dude?
You never know. He'll probably be eating somewhere. That dude nonstop eating. That's the main thing he want to know for Friday and Saturday. Where we eating?
I still can't believe he ain't gonna go to the wrestling show.
Yeah, I mean, he said he wants to go to WrestleCon, maybe get in line and get an autograph. I said, Austin, you got Mr. Kennedy, Mark Henry, and
Chavo
Chavo Guerrero right there that you could walk in there and get a autograph in no time.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
And maybe
I like
even,
Mark Henry.
and if he's lucky, maybe even a free one. He got Kurt Angle for free.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Freebirds pop back up at some point. I always liked them when I was back in the day. That would have been pretty cool.
Well, the thing about that is that Michael Hayes is their main producer for for WWE.
Wow. Okay.
And who would ever thought that he would have been a great wrestler producer back in the day? He was crazy as hell.
He's been with WWE for a long time, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, long time. And he never really wrestled much for WWE. They got there and they showed up drunk all the time. They got fired. Well, matter of fact, Undertaker I think Andre got him fired.
He was one of the guys that he puts a lot of matches together, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the main guy. Well, him and Gordy showed up. Hayes and Gordy showed up at a match drunk, and Andre said he was gonna put up with this bullshit. And he said, "Big man, what do you think you're gonna do? You can't do nothing about it." Guess what? Next day they was fired. Andre had that kind of pull.
Like they put these guys in charge of producing the match, so like that. Say it's Hayes. How like when he works with like two other wrestlers, how much input do you think them wrestlers have and how that match is going, and how much? I'm sure who has the final say? Probably Hayes, right? Whoever the producer of that match is probably has the final say. But I'm sure they have to. I'm sure the workers have to have some kind of.
Well, a lot more now than when Vince was there.
Yeah.
But they still had some when Vince was there, but a lot more now. But I think what they do, the producer and them sit down, they talk, and then they go back to the producer goes back to Triple H. He said, "Here's what we got planned." Triple H, that's good, or that's too long, or are we going to be seeing this spot here in this match? Let's not do this spot. That type of thing. But yeah, I think they get a lot of input now.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of people think. And we kind of see it because we see it a little bit on the independent level. But like your average fan, I just think that they think that like the two guys get together and they go out there and they just do what they want. But that's not how it works. There's like each match has a producer that is in charge of that match.
And now there's times, especially like house shows and stuff like. I remember one time, I think it was Undertaker. I think it could have been different wrestler. Told Billy Ray, he said, "You're calling the match tonight." He said, "Don't you want to talk?" Nope, you call it in the ring. We'll be in the ring, and you tell me each spot before we do it, and that's what we're going to do.
Oh, that's crazy, Jay. We see that on the independent level. These guys, those guys have never worked together before, and they'll talk maybe like 5 minutes, and then they'll go out there and whoever maybe the veteran is will be calling the match in the ring, telling them what they're going to do, why they're doing it, and just boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's crazy.
That does sound crazy, especially with the timing of everything, right? The timing for each move and things like that. That's hard to get your timing down when you're just hearing it on the fly. That sounds really crazy to me.
Well, see, like
there's some of the best matches we've seen.
Yes,
have been called on the fly like that. Yeah. It's crazy when you find out like you guys did like. Because I talking to IK3 and some of them guys sometimes, like some of that stuff they don't have planned. They just go out there and they'll call it, and then it's like, man, that was awesome. And you'd think they'd had it planned, but no, it just they go off but doing it that way you can feed off the crowd some too. Like if the crowd's into it, to keep. And if you're not getting no reaction from the crowd, hey, we need to change something up.
Different, yeah.
This ain't working. We need to change. Yeah,
so in the WWE world, though, every match that goes down, each one has a producer assigned to every match.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
Okay.
sometimes more than one producer. Sometimes there might be two.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, but Michael Hayes is their number one guy. He does all of the Roman Reigns stuff. He does usually the main events. He's he's
Okay.
definitely one of their top guys.
Okay.
Now,
That's interesting.
here's a story. Michael Hayes and the Freebirds back probably in the late 70s was wrestling in the Mid-South area, and they attacked Junkyard Dog with was supposed to be some type of hair cream and put it in his eyes
Yeah.
and blinded him. It got so much heat. There's people pulled out guns and shot at him
Really?
in the arena. That's how much heat that they got. They pulled out guns.
Damn. That's a little bit more than what you bargained for when you go to an event, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Hey, we've seen some of these fans try to attack wrestlers at these independent shows. Hey, a friend of ours, every time he goes to Kokomo,
oh God,
there's at least two people out of the front row that are all the way up in his face. I mean, everything but touching him. Hell, he's been touched before, but
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, dude, it's crazy.
That's one thing that surprises me. How a lot of the shows we go to independent don't even have guardrails up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right there with the fans. If a fan wants to touch you, they could touch you.
Well, Jay, and it's on our page and on the ESCN page. Show we was at Sunday. Wrestler was holding another wrestler, was going to let a kid chop. Usually a kid will chop him. That little kid kicked that dude square in the balls, dude.
Yeah.
So then, well, no, the first time the dude was just down.
Yeah.
The guy was like crawling on the outside of the ring, and that kid just went up and kicked him in the balls.
Yeah.
Well, then the wrestler held him and thought he was going to chop him. He kicked him square in the balls again, dude. Kid was what, probably
8 or 9
9 years old.
Yeah.
And the wrestler's probably like, this little son of a bitch kicked me in the balls twice. Damn. I'm sorry. That's a little crazy for me. I don't care. A little kid kicked me in the balls. I'm gonna be having a conversation with his daddy.
We've seen wrestlers pick up kids and use them as a weapon. hit the wrestler with the kids and stuff.
And the parents are like, that's okay. Take a little Timmy. Timmy ain't no big deal.
Well, that's the thing about the independent wrestling scene that's different than going to WWE. And I'm a big WWE fan, so I'm not putting down that. But that's one thing you get at the independent scene. You're a lot more hands-on. You're a lot closer. You're a lot more involved. I mean, especially you can go there for $12 and see it. Me and Chris is paying $200 for Royal Rumble, and our nose is going to be bleeding. So, but I mean, that's just the way it is, you know.
I can see it right now, man. You take your kid to a damn independent wrestler saying your kid may or may not be used as a prop.
Well, put it this way.
That's interesting.
Well, one match the guy set a wrestler up on a chair, and he let all the kids that was in the crowd line up, and they were letting them go up there and take turns chopping that guy. This is the middle of a match.
Yeah.
Middle of a match. Finally, the referee went out there and put a stop to it, like, hey, you guys got to get back in the ring. But yeah, like every kid in the place was lined up and was going to chop this wrestler. It's the middle of a match.
And you should
see they hit him in the face or they hit him in the stomach? No, really hit this guy.
The chest, chopping him in the chest.
Chopping him in the chest. Okay. I'd be that one kid go up there, pow, right in the throat.
Well, hey, some of them kids knocked the shit out of him, dude. It's like,
I can just say, hey, what are you doing tonight? Well, I got to go to work. Well, what are you doing? I'm gonna let
crazy. We saw a kid in a wheelchair run over a wrestler, and that's how the other wrestler won the match.
Well, it was a last man standing match, and
he couldn't get up.
So the kid, they put his wheelchair on top of the dude, so the dude couldn't get up, and he got counted out.
Oh, that is crazy. I mean, they do some crazy. I mean, I know they do some crazy stuff, but a wheelchair on top of a dude. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But the kid, you should see that kid's face, man. That kid, you know what I mean? He was loving it.
He's going to remember it forever.
But going back to the WWE now, how long do you think they're going to allow Cody Rhodes to be the champion? Like, will it be as long as what Roman Reigns was, or do you think there's going to be at some point maybe Roman Reigns gets the title back from Cody? How do you think that's all going to play out? If you had to guess at it.
Man, I don't know. I think he holds it till at least WrestleMania, and then after that, I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked if he lost it to Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. I'm not predicting. I think he's going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Owens beat him.
Well, how long do you think they go before Reigns gets the championship back, or do you think he's just not going to ever get it back?
He don't need it, but I don't know, because he is I don't think he needs the belt because he's not there enough.
Right.
He just does. I think he should be more like a special attraction.
So why are they putting it back to a special attraction? Just because he had his time and his time came and went?
Just that he don't want. Well, he's got health concerns. I mean, not that he's not in good shape, because he's had leukemia. He's
Right.
and so he takes medicine. He has to take medicine every day
Right.
for leukemia. It's
more the schedule that he wants to work.
Yeah, he's going to work 100 days.
Then what it is like if he wanted to work like a full schedule, they would probably put a title back on him. But since he don't really work a full schedule because of some of the issues and stuff, I think that would be why they might not put the title back on him as often as maybe they would if he was there all the time.
And Cody's a different champion. He's a big baby face, and that's something WWE had a long time. He's #1 seller of merchandise. And Jay, after he wrestles his match, he wrestles on Raw, and he wrestles even if he don't wrestle in the main event, he'll come out and stay out there with the crowd and sign stuff for 30, 45 minutes and an hour.
Yeah.
And signs. That's this type of guy he is, and that's free. He's not charging anybody anything. That's the type of guy he is. So
sometimes he takes off his belt and he gives his belt to the kids or whatever when he's coming to the ring. I think that's pretty dope.
Well, if there's a match where he uses a table, he'll take where they've crushed the table. He'll take pieces of the table and sign it and give it to kids after the match.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
I like that. I like the interaction that these wrestlers are doing with the kids. I mean, I know they do the meet and greets and things like that, but like you said, it's the stuff to do at the show that they're not necessarily being paid for. Yep. I mean, that's pretty cool, especially for these kids that look up to that.
As well, and some kids that they're not, I guess privilege is the right word, but some kids that don't grow up with the money that they can go where they could pay for like autographs or to have that interaction with Rhodes. So going to like a Rumble might be the only thing they ever get to go to, and then something like that to happen where like they get to interact with him after the show. I mean, they'll remember that forever.
Yeah.
For sure. Because let's be honest, those meet and greets, especially after talking with Glenn, they aren't cheap. I mean, they cost some pennies. They cost a couple of pennies.
Oh yeah, most of them are going to be at least $40 to $60.
Well, going back to the independents for a second,
at the minimum.
That's the thing. This show that they're doing this weekend, and Mr. Kennedy's going to be there, and he's going to wrestle, and so is Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Mark Henry's going to be there, and they're all going to sign autographs. Of course, it does cost, but you can get in the door for $12. You could take a family of 4 for under $50 to that show. The concessions is cheap.
I'm saying you can go get a hot dog for a couple bucks, get a drink for a couple bucks. You're not paying $30 like you are at a.
And don't get me wrong, that promoter, if he wanted to, he could have charged $20 for the front row seats or $25. But he said he didn't want.
He wanted to keep it cheap.
He wanted to keep it affordable. He wanted it for a fan. If you want to get down on the floor, tickets are $15. A family of 4 could sit there for $60. If you want to sit in the bleachers, a family of 4 can sit for $48. And wow. I mean, and I think that's cool. And then another thing, a lot of these guys that go to shows, not all of them, but a lot of these guys will go to the show. And I've heard them say it. Even if you don't have money to come over here and get an autograph from me, come over and say hi to me. Come over and talk to me. We'll talk. I'll talk to you. The main one was Godfather. Yeah, he got right in the middle of the ring. He said, "You ain't got money for an autograph? Come on over and say hi. We'll talk wrestling."
He got an. I've seen most of you over at the table. He said, "But if you don't have the money, don't or still come over to the table, talk to me." He goes, I'd like to have a conversation with you. I mean, Godfather was a cool dude. I sat outside and talked to him for like 45 minutes there outside the venue before the show. He was cool.
It's just
Kurt Angle.
A lot of them are pretty cool.
Kurt Angle signed autographs and stuff. Well, then during intermission, he was sitting over at a table. Kids was walking up to him. He was grabbing pictures and signing them and just handing them out to the kids for free.
And see, he met.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And the show he was at was a fundraiser for a wrestling club. And so he got there early and met with all the kids. And the wrestling club had small kids, middle-aged kids, all the way up to
basically elementary through high school.
Through high school, yeah. And he met with them and talked to them, what, Chris, probably 30 minutes?
Oh, at least 30 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes. He was in there and talking to the high school wrestling. Well, basically the high school wrestling team and then the elementary kids wrestling.
Right. Wow. That is amazing to me.
The independents, especially, even if you don't have a big name, there's a lot of talent out there. That, I mean, Jay, they bust their ass, and a lot of them don't get paid shit.
Telling you, you go watch WCWO tomorrow. If you're in Indianapolis area, go watch WCWO tomorrow, Friday night, and you're going to see some of the best wrestlers out there on the independent level.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the
names.
names, but then you got Dex Royal, who he's had a WWE tryout before, but he's one of the top.
Ago.
He's one of the top guys around.
And he's still like 26 years
Then
old.
you have IK3, who, this is my opinion, he's the best I've seen. And then you have Logan Myers, who's getting a chance to wrestle Chavo Guerrero, and Logan Myers is one of the best, especially in the Midwest and around right now. So we got Rachel Armstrong, who's one of the best women around.
Well, she's wrestled in other countries.
Yeah, she's been in other countries. So, I mean, there's some other couple other women that are going to be there that I know are big names that I haven't seen before. So,
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of talent on that show tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And hell, think about it. We didn't
believe it
mention-
or not.
And I said all that. I didn't even mention 2 or 3 guys that are usually in our top 5 independent guys every month.
Yeah.
In Maliko, Zay Gates,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Highlight reel.
Yeah, people like that. I mean, there's so much talent on that card. Well, they're having a championship match on the pre-show. That's how much talent's on the card. They're having the pre-show match is going to be one of their championship matches on the line.
Wow. That's
Championships
incredible.
on the line, I should say. Gunslinger.
I don't know. I mean, like Melanie, she don't really know a lot about wrestling, but she does know the Von Erichs because she grew up with the Von Erichs, and she talks about them all the time. And I'm like, man, I mean, that's pretty dope. I mean, I don't know if I've ever met a wrestler in my life, but I think that'd be pretty cool to, meet them and just kind of pick their brain about what it's really like, in the wrestling scene, more so than what you just see on TV. Because like a lot of us growing up, to me, it looked fake, but obviously it's not fake. I mean, there are some things that are scripted, but it's not necessarily, fake.
Yeah.
And I would love to just meet them and pick their brain, especially Mick Foley. That guy's been through some.
Got to meet him.
Yeah, that guy. I've seen his face a few times. Where
We have some footage of him on our show. We would have some more, but
We had an idiot cameraman.
but
He was working the camera like an idiot. But speaking of Foley, he's been working with Diamond Dallas Page doing that yoga stuff that he does. And he's lost like 75, 85 pounds.
Foley was a cool guy. He was real friendly. He talked to everybody. He was honestly about everybody we've met. I've all been pretty friendly.
That lady Victoria was super nice.
Victoria.
We was at the commentator table with a back to her and went to intermission, and she came up to us and said, "Hey, I appreciate what you guys do. Going out here doing all these shows and everything, just super nice." She didn't have to do that.
No, of course not.
She didn't know me from Adam, and she come up here.
Devon was real friendly.
It was
Warlord
fun.
and Barbarian.
It was funny. Devon came to the ring and was going to help these other wrestlers, and the wrestlers they did the stick. Devon, get the table. He said, "I'm Devon Dowling. bitches, you get the table."
He's I'm a Hall of Famer,
Well,
bitches. You get the table. I was rolling.
Got to put them in their place sometimes. Gotta put 'em in
And
their place.
but yeah, I mean, almost all of them that we've got the opportunity to talk to have been real. Most of them are real friendly and outgoing that we've got to talk to.
Yeah. Carlito and his
Car-
cousins,
Yeah, they were cool.
super nice.
Years ago, I got to talk to Jake the Snake Roberts, and
Now,
that was awesome.
I remember Jake the Snake when I was a kid growing up. That would be pretty dope.
Well,
Did he
I
ever-
sit outside the community center here in Muncie, Indiana, smoking a couple cigarettes and just talking to Jake the Snake Roberts for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, but listen to this. He gets in the ring. Before he gets in the ring, he has to be paid. He's not going to get in the ring unless he gets paid, and he wants paid cash. So the promoter paid him, and he put it in a Crown Royal bag, tied it up, and he stuck it in his. He was wearing was it like them Zuba pants? What was they called back in the day? Kind of like sweatpants, but they call them Zubas or something. But he put them in, and he gets in the ring and he's wrestling. Well, as the match is going on, that damn bag falls out. And it opens, and there's money all over the damn ring.
Money's bouncing around the ring.
Yeah, there's money all over the ring. So the referee gets it and puts it back in the bag. He said, and he tells you hear the ref tell Jake, your bag fell out of the thing. The money's on the floor. I said, I picked it up. I got it back in the bag. I've got it in my hand. I'll give it back to you after your match. But it
It's
just
like, hold on a minute. Give me that damn bag.
Because it didn't only have the money that he got paid for his appearance. He sold
Yeah.
a bunch of autographs and and some merch and stuff he had. So I mean, he made pretty good money off selling that, because I know my son bought quite a bit of stuff off of it. There was only one thing he wouldn't sign. Somebody tried to get him to sign one of them Beyond the Mat books or whatever, or videos, and he wouldn't sign that. But about anything else, he was
What his reasoning was though for not signing that?
okay.
because it was a documentary WWE done, and they didn't portray him well at all.
It wasn't their documentary.
It wasn't independent documentary. It wasn't one WWE done, but it was an independent one, and they didn't portray him good at all.
Well, honestly, it pretty much told the truth.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to hear the truth. I mean, he was. I think he's actually smoking crack on the video. You know, and it showed interactions with his daughter that probably they shouldn't have shown it. I mean, it wasn't good interaction. And some of the people take advantage of people, and he was getting a payday, you know, and I understand his point of view. I mean, but
yeah, but like watching it, they showed some stuff they probably shouldn't have. There was enough there that they could have left some of that stuff out and still had enough. But
and some of these people,
you know how it is, man. Hey, when you're news people, man, that's like money to them. The more crazier you are, the more money there is to sell.
The people did that documentary of China. They knew China was in trouble. She was in horrible shape. And they knew it. And she ended up, while she was doing that documentary that night, she killed herself. And they knew she was in trouble. Nobody reached out and tried to help her.
Isn't that crazy?
And they were around her. They were around her 8, 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow, that's just insane.
What? Before we move on, what do you think the best match of the Rumble is going to be?
Of course, the Rumble match is going to be great, but I'm Cody Rhodes and
Owens
in a ladder match with both belts hung up above the ring, and you win it by getting them belts down. I think it's still the show.
I think that's going to be pretty crazy.
And you got
I'm looking forward to seeing the Royal Rumble. That's going to be amazing. I like watching the big ones. I don't get into it as much as I should, but I like watching the big fights.
Now, Jay, it comes on at 6. It's not an 8 o'clock one. It comes on 6 p.m.
Yeah, is that Eastern or Central?
Eastern. That's Eastern.
So 5 your time.
My time then on Saturday, 5 o'clock Saturday. Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
So that means he'll actually around like what 4 o'clock your time. There'll be the pre-show and shit.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock your time. The pre-show and stuff will be on.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check into it at 3 o'clock then.
Well, that pre-show that they'll do. They'll do all the stories, everything leading up to it, and everything, and a lot of interviews. It's usually.
I wonder, are they going to be set up outside the stadium? I know some of them they are.
I doubt it. I think it's too cold.
That one time they were at one and it was pretty cold.
That's true.
I can't remember where it was, but remember they were all bundled up. I was just wondering if they were going to be outside, because that'd be something cool to walk over and check out.
I know one thing.
You know what I mean? We're going to be down there, and now they're not calling for rain on Saturday.
No,
calling for an inch of rain or up to an inch of rain tomorrow.
That sucks.
They're going up. They're saying we can get up to an inch of rain on Friday, but they're not. Saturday they're saying it's going to be dry now.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 54 here Friday, but I think 40 Saturday.
Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be 54, but it's supposed to be rain a bunch.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. Oh, you know what they say? Better to have rain than it is to have snow.
Hey, you never give me no prediction. Who's gonna win it?
I don't know.
I think I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. I still think they give it to Cody Rhodes.
Well, Cody Rhodes is not in the Rumble.
Oh, he's not in the Rumble?
No, because he's a champion.
Oh, okay. I'm still a newbie, Chris. You got and Tony. You got some of this stuff. I'm still learning. So I get little veterans like you guys.
Oh man, I don't know. CM Punk makes sense.
But Roman makes sense. There's a lot of they've got like 10 guys that make sense.
I'm gonna go off the hook. I'm gonna go off the rails a little bit. I'm gonna say John Cena.
John Cena makes sense because they want him to get that break Ric Flair's record and win the 17 championship.
I'm gonna say John Cena's going because he's making his big return. I'm gonna go with Cena.
That's not a bad pick.
And what does Ric Flair think about them doing that just to break his record? Is he okay with it?
Flair's all for it. Cena's been the one against it because they could have done it 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think Cena really wants to break it.
Yeah.
Because he believes Flair's the greatest of all time, in his opinion, and he don't, But then you'll talk to Flair, and Flair says the greatest. He thinks Cena might be the greatest of all time, but he says the best in-ring performer of all time is Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
That's what Flair says.
I like Shawn Michael. I do remember Shawn Michael growing up, though. I do remember him. Absolutely. There you go. What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you, if you want to see a good podcast about wrestling and they talk to a lot of different people, check out the Undertaker's one.
Undertaker has a good
You follow
podcast.
it?
Yeah.
Watch it. It's good, isn't it?
I watched a few. It's very good.
Yeah, it's good. I started watching it probably about a year ago or something. I saw it on YouTube and I started watching some of them. And they're real good.
I thought it was not to go on a somber note, but off topic a little bit was obviously, we had that wreck in DC. 14 figure skaters were on that, U.S. figure skaters. And then I think 2 figure skaters were from Russia, I believe. It was 67 people in total that perished. But I mean, DC, that's like a no-fly. I'm surprised that, and I don't know who they're going to say to blame for that is. They asked the helicopter pilot if he saw the plane as it was coming down to land, and they got no response. So that's a terrible thing.
I don't want to get political.
Yeah.
And I didn't like our last president. I'm not a big fan of this one either, to be honest. I'm just being honest. But he already came out and tried to place blame. Be a president, be a leader. Wait till you get investigations before you speak. Don't start Don't try to place blame already.
I get what you're saying because he shouldn't, but you also have.
Oh, I know.
You also already had people blaming
that it was trying to blame him. Because,
said it was his fault.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Blaming it on him. That's all they do is blame each other.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. But be a leader, get the facts, and then go after whoever you need to go after. That's my only.
It sounds like a mistake was made. I mean, it sucks because it costs a lot of people their lives. But
no. Did anybody survive?
I don't believe so. So far, they've it's not a rescue mission now. At this point, it's a recovery mission. So I don't believe so. And I can't imagine it would be.
It's mind blowing that it would happen where it happened at, like you said, a no-fly zone. That's it. Don't make any sense.
Mickey Delaney said, "Remember Tony? He said he's smart." I don't want. We can't spend too much time on this because it's too early to really spend. I just wanted to basically say that our thoughts and prayers.
Definitely, man. It's a tragedy, man. So it's horrible.
That's my point. It don't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't. At this point, I mean, it don't matter whose fault it is. It's over. It's over with now.
Right.
Yeah, you want to make sure. Well, you want to try to make sure it don't happen again. But as long as it wasn't like some kind of, as long as it wasn't some kind of attack, as long as it wasn't some kind of attack or something, it was an accident or a mistake. You just got to try to make sure it don't happen again. Other than that, it really don't. At this point, it don't matter whose fault it is. Knowing whose fault it is isn't going to bring back the
only one's going to. The family members are going to want to know so they can sue.
My thing is, like, at first I thought it might have been a terrorist attack, right? But then when I started to read the article. And then when you read the article, it's talking about them landing and the helicopter taking off. And I'm thinking, like, okay, that's not terror. That's just a simple either air traffic controller mistake or
some kind of miscommunication is what it sounded like.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to lie. When I first saw the report, first thing that kind of popped in my head was an attack. Because I mean,
absolutely.
You think back to September 11th and that stuff, and it was just a boom of report, something like that all of a sudden. But then once you, like you said, got the details and more, it sounds like it miscommunication or some kind of mistake was made.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, the pilots may not have been able to hear. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen.
Sometimes technology don't work how it's supposed to either.
Yeah, we don't know why.
It never does sometimes. And and I guess to segue off that, now you look at the Super Bowl coming up, and the NFL's talking about beefing up their security. things like that for the Super Bowl, it's always a hard thing to try to keep a safe environment when you got that many people. But I hope and pray that everything goes well.
Well, and they were going to already beef up the Super Bowl security because of what happened in New Orleans. A few weeks ago when they were having the national championship game was going to be down there. You had them attacks down there.
I mean, there is going to be a safer way we're doing things, because I think in the Eagles championship game they had one person that obviously perished, and I think he was trying to climb a telephone pole or something, and it didn't work out for him, obviously.
Yeah, he was up on a pole. He climbed the light pole, and the light pole,
I know,
and he suffered brain damage. Ended up unfortunately passing away. But the thing is, you can bring all the police you want, but
you're not
you get 100,000. You get 100,000 people all in one place. If somebody wants to do something, I hate to say it, but it's going to be hard.
Right. I think the biggest line of protection is the ones that are there. When you go through the metal detectors and things like that, that's really your best line of defense. And hopefully they have enough people that are manning those particular spots to where they keep the things from coming in there. That's my hope. So we'll see.
No, I agree with you 100% there. But the problem is, if you think about it, most of the stuff that happens like that happens outside. Like outside that event, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before people are going through all that.
For sure. Like you said, like in New Orleans when the guy just drove his car. I mean, it happens.
Because think about, have you ever? I've been to a lot of games. Have you ever been to a game and felt unsafe? No, I haven't. No. But you know what I mean? But then you see that stuff like this happens. You're like, man, but like when I go to a game, that's never even a thought in my mind.
Right. Did either one of you guys see the footage from the game last night? St. Louis and VCU got into a big old melee fight in the crowd.
Really?
Game was going on, scored 69-63, and these dudes are going in the middle, pretty close to the benches, but probably 15 rows, 20 rows.
Hey,
they're just going crazy.
What are you doing, dude?
I always feel like your animals mess with y'all during
podcasts,
man. I feel like your animals are like, pay attention to me.
He's knocking off your chain.
I know he's over there knocking all my quarters I'm going to play poker with. He's knocking them all down off my table onto the floor.
He's knocking them off and just looking at him like you gonna do something about it?
What you gonna do, Chris? Come on. Like that one comedian said last night. Let me tell you something. If you're getting a Chihuahua for an emotional support animal, you've already dug up the wrong tree.
No, I didn't see that game last night.
Stop.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me ask you one more thing. One more thing I want to get you guys' opinion on. So Wembanyama was very upset because when they played the Thunder, I forget the guy's name, but he bumped into him or kind of gave him a shove, and Wembanyama kind of flew down to the ground, and he got upset, and he's wanting to, confront him and everything. At some point, I was telling him, Wembanyama, look, him and Chet Holmgren, look, I know you guys got height, but you need to put some damn weight on because, these guys aren't playing. I mean, they're a little bit bigger than you, right? I mean, I don't care how big you are. If you ain't got some weight to hold down the paint or hold down the down low spots, what are you doing?
Are you guys surprised he's having as much? I mean, I always thought he was going to be a very good player, but did you think he was going to have this much success this early, especially with his being a small? I mean, he's a big guy, but frame wise, body wise, I didn't know if he was going to be able to do that his first year and a half, 2 years. I'm a little surprised that he's doing that well.
I'm not as much surprised he's doing this well this year. Last year, if it had been last year as the rookie, but you can see a big difference in him this year from last year. Last year there was a few times he looked lost out there in the court, but this year I think he's kind of found his role or his spots and how he can thrive in the NBA. Where last year he kind of looked a little lost.
Do you think he's going to be a superstar?
Oh yeah, I think within the next 4 or 5 years, are probably the best player in the NBA.
He's gonna be.
I still think for him to get to that level, he needs to. I'm not saying he's got to put on like a massive amount of weight, but if he can have something like a Tim Duncan frame, where you got a little bit of meat on you, but you're not like
20 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like if he had that Tim Duncan type of frame, I think the sky is the limit for him. When he's got the frame that he has right now, I just don't know how well that frame can handle over years and years of being pounded on.
But you gotta remember, he's what, 20 years old? 21,
21, I believe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Age 26.
Give him to when he's like 24, 25, and he fully grows into his body.
Yeah,
he could be an animal, dude.
Yeah, I mean, because even obviously the guy has massive amounts of talent. We saw that when he was playing over in Europe before he even got to us over here. You knew he was going to have success in the NBA. I just didn't really know how much success he was going to have, because you got to wait and see how he translates to the NBA game. And it looks like, like you said, that first year he was kind of lost, but now I think second year, especially when you got a guy like Pop, even though Pop's not with them right now, his staff is very much Pop, and you got a very good developmental staff in San Antonio. And that really pays big dividends, when you get a young guy who has talent coming over to
and everything you hear about the guy is he's all about basketball, and he's always studying. He's always like he's it sounds like he's 110% bought into everything.
Right.
And I think within the 3 or 4 years, I really do. I think he's going to be probably known as the best player in the league.
And there's a very good possibility of that. I don't see what would stop him. The only thing I think would stop him is if he ran into injury issues, but I don't see that being an issue for him right now.
Changing of the guard coming. Who in the next 3 or 4 years, who do you think the top 3 NBA players will be? You think Wembanyama's going to be one? The one dude for the Timberwolves?
Oh, Edwards?
Maybe. I would say guy I think is going to be a big star, Alexander.
Oh, God. Yeah, he had 52 points the other night.
For OKC, what was it?
Yeah, Shea Alexander.
Yeah, Shea Gilchrist Alexander or whatever. SGA. I think he could end up being a real big, like being up there.
For sure.
Do you think that the markets that some of them are in could hurt him though?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could, but like Wembanyama's in San Antonio, that's not a big market.
No, but I think a lot of people want to play down in San Antonio. Yeah. So even though it's not a big market, I think a lot of people like playing there. I think that could
think about it. Reggie Miller, I think was a major star. But how big of a star would he have been if he played with a team like the Lakers or the Knicks?
Geez. But then again, though, too, sometimes playing for those kinds of franchises hurts you a little bit.
Yeah, it can. On the flip side, it can. You're right, Jay. But I mean, just the market wise, if he had that type of career that he had in Indiana with the Knicks, he would have been a much bigger star.
Well, anytime you're into the bright lights of New York or LA or whatever, you're going to find out who the big stars are and who they're not, because it takes a lot to play under those kind of conditions. Philadelphia, that's probably another one. Those aren't easy places to play in because of the competitive nature of the fans, and that can be a lot for a player. Sometimes they do great and sometimes they don't. It just depends on their mental toughness. We'll see. I mean, Reggie Miller, he probably would have been just fine out there in LA. You never know.
He pretty tough guy. Honestly.
Yeah, I have to say, Reggie's a pretty tough
plus
guy.
he was from that area, wasn't he? Well, I know he went to UCLA, but I was thinking that I thought he was.
I'm not sure where he was from.
But he went to UCLA in college.
I thought he was from the California area, but I could be wrong.
I think a lot of these players look at, playing for these great organizations like the Lakers and things of that nature.
That's what I meant, the California area.
But I wonder how many of them actually look at the system. Like, do they look at the place to play for, or do they look at the system that the place is running to see if that's really where they want to go? Because LA may have run a system that may not have been necessarily 3-point friendly for a guy like, him to be the star that he became, or even Larry Bird. Larry Bird played out there with the Celtics, and he had, it's a great system, great coaching. They had a lot of good things going on out there. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of factors as to whether or not a player will succeed or not.
Larry Bird could have went anywhere, and he would have succeeded.
I'm tracking. I was just using the system. And, yeah, trust me, Larry Bird would have been fine anywhere. I mean, maybe that was a bad example to choose, but
Larry Bird was the system.
Yeah, that's true. He was. French Slick, baby. French Slick. Don't mess with him.
He's definitely top 5. I mean, not on most people's list, but he's definitely top 5. Hell, I could make an argument and people gonna say I'm crazy.
Yeah,
He could be number one as far as I'm concerned.
Reggie was from California. That's what I thought.
I mean, athletically, no. Skill wise, Bird could be number one.
Yeah, Bird was a highly skilled son of a bitch. Ain't no doubt about it in my mind. He was tough and he was talented.
Mentally.
Oh, he had all the components. You know, there's no doubt about it. He had all the components. He still has all the components. When you talk to that guy, he still sounds like a tough SOB.
But you talk to most people, they wouldn't have him in the top 5.
Yeah, that's the thing about opinions. Everybody's got one. But maybe they're messing it true, but they got him.
And it's hard because there's a lot of great players. I mean, you're going to leave people when you do a top 5. You're going to lose a bunch. You're going to leave a lot of great players off. So I mean,
right.
So I understand. I mean, if a guy told me no, Bird's not my top 5, he's 7. I'm not. You know, I can't. You know, you can't argue. If a guy says LeBron's the greatest, I'm not going to argue with him because I mean, there's a case there for there. There's a case. I don't agree with that, but I mean, there's a case to be made for LeBron.
You know, it's really hard to compare athletes from the past to athletes of the present or even athletes in the future because the game isn't the same. And when the game's not the same, it makes a difference. You know, I mean, it really does. And, you know, to say if one person could play in this era or that era, I mean, who knows? I mean, the eras aren't the same. So it's very hard to make those comparisons. I almost like to say, this is the best guy during this era. This is the best guy during that era. I mean, because it's hard to say, like, this guy's the best of everything because the eras aren't the same.
Oh, I think LeBron could have played in that area. And I think his mentality would have been different because it would have had to been.
Oh, yeah, it would have been. Again, you grow up in that era, you're going to play like that era, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's kind of what it is.
I don't think he would have been. I don't think he would have had. I don't know if he would average as many points because leagues didn't score that many points. So I don't know if he would average as much points. But he's still.
Well, yeah, I mean, the game was different, right? 3-point shot was, oh my God, that's like the last attempt or something. Now it's like,
and then plus, back then the offense didn't have the big advantage they do now because back then the defense you could hand check. You know what I mean? Now the defense can't do that. So back then, that's one reason the scoring was lower too. Like you said, no threes, but also because the defense could hand check and be a lot more physical as well.
Sure.
If you came down the lane on the Pacers, the Knicks, the Pistons, and some other teams, you were going to get hit 3 times. You're going to get the first foul, and then you're going to get 2 more times. And then you go hit the ground. That's the way it was.
Especially if you're going up a guy like Bill Laimbeer that was known for that kind of stuff. I mean, just a nasty, nasty Pistons guy, right? I mean, everybody can tell you about Bill Laimbeer.
Davis boys for Indiana.
Knicks had their guys Mason and
but I mean, where do you think? Hey, let me ask you this: where do you think a guy like we were just talking about the Celtics, Larry Bird. Hey, man, my brain is getting terrible these days. What do you think a guy like Larry Bird would be if he was shooting up 53-pointers like what they're doing in Boston now, right? Boston will shoot up about 53s, maybe make about 24 or 25 of them, right? Could you imagine where Larry Bird would be in the conversation if he was shooting that many 3-pointers?
Well, they talk about how many points Jordan would average, and most people said Jordan could have averaged probably 40, 45 points a game the way they play now. I would think Bird would have been averaging 35 or 40.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. It's so hard to say who's this or who's that because the era is different.
Think about this. How many points would Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, 2 of the best point shooters, would they've averaged if they were throwing up 15, 23s a game like these guys are now?
Oh, they'd probably be 50, 60 points deep if they're casting up that many threes, and especially with their completion percentage at the 3-point line is, they probably would have had a lot of points. You know, that's the difference within the game nowadays, right? I mean, there is no mid-range shot. You're either doing a 3-pointer or you're doing something around the bucket. You know, that mid-range shot doesn't really even exist anymore. And if it did, DeMar DeRozan was probably one of the better shots of today's era in that mid-range.
Until the playoffs. That's what's funny. Everybody wants to shoot threes, and then you see in the playoffs a lot more mid-range jumpers getting shot.
And more defense. Not as much as it should be, but more defense.
That's the one thing you don't see as much nearly in the league is that defense. You know, I mean, there's not defensive players, there are, but it's not like it was back in earlier eras where there was a lot more defense. But then again, it goes back to that physicality, and it goes back to how they call fouls. Maybe they call more fouls now than they did then. I mean, there's a lot of things that affect that.
Well, back then, about every team had a defensive specialist.
Oh, for sure.
You don't have that now. You don't have that now.
No. I remember the Worm was the best one at it when he played with, and Rasheed Wallace was a pretty good defender back in those days too, as well. Yeah, what a time, man. All right, so looks like we're going to be having an intro. I think Logan said he's going to have the intro ready on Friday. So everybody tuning in. Friday, we should have our official intro. I think that would make Gonzo happy. He will know when to talk because he wants to wait for the live button. It'd be great.
We won't be here Friday. we won't be here tomorrow. We'll be back.
I know you won't be here tomorrow. Me and Logan will have it
Monday.
tomorrow. And we will catch Tony and Chris back up on Monday. And I'm sure we'll be getting a nice little rundown of their Royal Rumble experience. Hopefully Glenn will chime in with his experiences too, and we can hear about all the great stuff.
Yep, most definitely.
All right, folks. Well, hey, it's your boy Jay McLovin along with Tony Gonzo. I would like to tell you guys, if you liked everything you heard today, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We really like to hear that subscribe button, and that definitely helps us out. Enjoy the content.
I don't know if it's true or not what Mickey just posted up here.
What did he post? I didn't see that one. What did he post?
I don't want to read it because I don't know if it's true. I don't want to say it out loud, but people can see it, of course. But Chris is looking it up now to see if he's seen anything.
Wow. I did see something about that, but I didn't know if it was true either. I have in Mickey Delaney, what he's talking about. I did see something about that. Let me look up on ESPN real quick and see if they have anything about that. You think that would be something they'd be talking about?
Ravens kicker Justin Tucker called allegations against him on equivocally, however you pronounce that word, false. And he released a statement. So I guess there has been it is true there has been allegations, but Justin Tucker has released a big old statement. This is according to Adam Schefter.
Okay.
Well, if Adam Schefter's saying it, then that gives some legitimacy to it.
Yeah, Schefter posted Tucker's statement here, but I'm not going to read. I'm not going to. It's like a whole page long. I'm not going to read
That's
all
right.
that.
If you want to go see that, you can check out Adam Schefter. You can get the whole statement there. But I guess the takeaway is right now there's obviously some investigations on Justin Tucker now, and
he says it's unequivocally false.
I hope it's false, man. I really hate seeing that kind of stuff. So,
you just never
okay,
know,
folks, maybe Friday we'll have more clarification on Tucker, if more information comes out on that.
I don't want to see another report about him. After this, it came out and they said there's an investigation. I don't want to hear nobody else talk about it because they ain't talking about what's going on at FS1 because it's a female. So don't talk about him like that.
That's true.
And there you have it, folks. We'll leave it at that.
Well, some people are talking about it.
Huh?
There's some people talking about it. You can go.
Well, mainstream media, I should say. Mainstream media won't talk about it,
no.
but then they'll try to jump all over. Watch this will be a top story on all over all the sports shows, but they're not going. But they won't even mention what's going on at FS1.
Not mainstream. Won't no.
That's crazy. Well, all right, folks. That is some thought-provoking stuff. Until next time, it's your boy Jay, Tony, and Gonzo saying peace out and stay nice.